Cody wrote in, random question. Are impurity laws irrelevant today? Are impurity laws irrelevant today? Now, we talked last week.
Are they irrelevant?
That's what he said. So we talked last week about Rob and my differing views from mainstream Christianity on the place of what many people have called the ceremonial law. We believe the entire law still is applicable today, and that there will be another temple that will be built at some point. I believe that the high priesthood will be administered possibly by the Messiah at that point, and that there won't be another high priest, but he will be the high priest in the temple at that point. And so that is obviously quite a different view from mainstream Christianity. So then the obvious question that is attached to that is Cody's question, which is, what about the purity laws? And what about those today? So do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, not a problem. I will go first. So I would say this. I think that the purity laws are relevant in that they will come back again, right? When we have another temple, the purity laws will still be instated for that space. However, the purity laws were only for that space. Now, that doesn't mean that Israel didn't observe those outside of the temple. In other words, there are mikvahs found outside of Jerusalem, right? So they certainly were washing and observing the purity laws. However, the purity laws were not for your average day. The purity laws were if you are going to the temple. And so let's say Paul is out in Ephesus and somebody dies on him, right? He's holding someone in his arms while they're passing away and then they die. Now he's contracted corpse impurity. So what does he have to do? Well, he doesn't have to do anything. He's impure, but it doesn't make a bit of difference until he gets to Jerusalem. And then he has to go through the process, which he does, by the way, in Acts 20 or Acts 21, right? He goes through that process. It's a 7-day process of purity before he can enter the temple grounds, okay? So there's nothing that he has to do in those purity laws. Now, I think Cody's question is more to the idea of what I think would be considered religious like Orthodox Jewish law. In other words, if my wife is having her time of the month, am I allowed to touch my wife? Or, do I need to take a mikvah, like a ritual bath, every single time that I contract some kind of impurity? And the answer to all of these things are no. There's no way that you're able to keep the purity laws in our day and age today, because all of us, every single person is affected by corpse impurity until the temple is rebuilt, until the Messiah comes, because I don't think you're going to have a pure temple until the Messiah comes.
That's why they
anyway.
have these, like, have you ever seen these sensational claims? Perfect red heifer found in Texas ranch or something like that. And then there's like the man contacts the rabbis in Israel, and then they have to securely, how do we transport the cattle without damaging them? Because if there's any blemish, then because this idea is they're on this vigilant quest, right? This intense search for the red heifer. Because why? Because that's how they're going to follow the descriptions in the Torah about creating the source of purity, right? This is right. There is no remedy in the Torah for corpse defilement except for the ashes of the red heifer. I mean, they're specific. That's Numbers 19, if everybody wants to read that. So the fact that you have the ultra-Orthodox Jews on the heightened alert lookout for ashes of the red heifer is because they're confronted with this very fact. Right? They're confronted with, we have all this halakha to try to keep these boundaries, even though there's no priesthood in place. And so ultimately, I don't know if you would be able to get a pure, purity. First of all, you can't get purity without the temple, because. And let's make this very clear. The purity laws are specific, and I've already said this, but I want to, this is important. This point is important. They are only in relation to the temple. Why? Because it is a picture of the gospel message. Okay?
God's presence cannot interact with something that is sinful. God is purely holy. And so we cannot diminish his holiness. He cannot dwell, that is, be in covenant relationship with something that is not fully holy, right? Something that's defiled. And so the picture is that a animal must die. An innocent animal must die. This is a picture of the innocence of Christ that then makes us clean. And then we are able to come into this space, into the presence of the Almighty God. Right. And so the temple complex is a representation of God's presence, dwelling in God's presence. And the whole sacrificial system, the entire sacrificial system, is set up to show the gospel message of Christ and his death on the cross, his resurrection, his ascension, and his making us clean to come into that presence.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.